Hey, I was getting worried. Hey, I
Ah,
was getting worried. God. Whew.
okay.
I think
Have you sent me what I asked for on WhatsApp?
yeah. You have WhatsApp on
Which
this
number?
number?
Yes, I do.
I sent it on the same email.
Oh, you sent it on email as well.
Yeah, the link I sent you right now.
Ah, I see. Okay. Sawa sawa. How many people are we looking forward to having today?
Maybe 200.
Okay. Those are some good numbers.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'll sign up.
Yeah, my tech is like my work phone literally broke and the screen cracked. So I have to replace that now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm happy at least you're here. I'm just glad I was getting Shara can go back to what she's doing. Okay.
Yeah. Is she still here? Because I couldn't even see her.
There she is. Let me
Okay.
tell her to go back to whatever she was doing.
All right. Let me know when we're ready to start.
Okay. Just give me a second. I'll be back.
Okay. No worries.
Where's my video? How do you put a video? Oh, seen it. I'm here.
Okay. Finally.
Yeah. I guess everything is fine now. I had to just it was getting a bit hot.
Yeah.
So I was really, really worried. I'm like, hey, what if I better show off? Whew.
Yeah.
But
I'm not a flake.
yeah,
I'm not a flake. We don't have to worry too much.
hey, when such things happening, you have to make sure that everything was working. And I'm like, I don't know. I was just a bit worried. Again, Instagram is not streaming, so I
Ah,
don't know. That one we
well,
can't help it.
yeah, well, apparently there's a completely different setting for Instagram. There's something that Shara shared with me about Instagram and why it's not broadcasting.
Okay.
You have to do it on your own. I don't know if if StreamYard supports.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. I think we can start. I'm
Yes,
ready. I'm game. It feels like a holiday. So
it is a holiday. Okay, great. Sawa sawa.
so good to be here again. I'm just trying to change
What's
this light.
happening?
I'll
There's
change
a
the
bit.
light. This? I'm ready.
Okay, there's a bit of feedback. No, there's feedback. I can hear you like twice. So I'm not sure what.
Um, well, it's fine on my side. Can you hear me
Because I
now?
could hear you twice over. Yeah, now I can hear
Oh,
you better. Okay,
all
Sawa,
right.
yeah. So welcome to the Everything You Need to Know Before You Hire in CyberSec Q&A with Bright Gameli. So Bright, maybe you can just do a bit of an intro for those who are joining us for the first time, those who don't know about you and your background.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, so my name is Bright. I like everything and everything cybersecurity. I basically like to I like technology as well. I basically try to help people to maneuver in the tech space. And in perspective to this topic, I'm also a hiring manager for some companies when it comes to technology, cybersecurity to be specific. And I think that's the reason why we're here. Recently, have been venturing into a space which is quite different for me, but I love it, which is blockchain intelligence. And every day that I get to work, I'm just like, man, there's a lot that we don't know in this space. A few years ago, I was nothing in the blockchain space. Lost a few cryptocurrency, yes, and here, but the fact that I'm venturing into tracking down cyber criminals in the blockchain space, um, money launderers in the blockchain space, and the likes is now a whole new field for me. I love it, and it's amazing. So good to be here again, Abed. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. I'm glad we get to have another conversation. Hopefully, it will be as insightful, if not more, as the previous one that we had. So, my
Yeah.
name is Abed Naima. I'm in the hiring and HR space. Specifically, I'm a work psychologist. So, I help companies understand who they need to hire for their teams and their company overall to be successful. So, today we're specifically talking about cybersecurity experts. So, as a company, what do you need to know before you bring somebody, a cybersecurity expert, on board? And maybe we can start with the overview of the current landscape in cybersecurity. So, how do you feel that is in Kenya? What's the market looking like for people who are looking for jobs or even for companies who are looking to hire in this space?
I'll say we look beyond Kenya actually. Look at East Africa and entire Africa. There's a shortage of cybersecurity experts or
Mm.
personnel, and it's been a very difficult space trying to get how to call it experts into to doing a lot of things because there are different domains of cybersecurity right now, and the threat landscape has changed. The cyber
Mm.
criminals are not getting PhDs to be able to do what they're doing. They are basically compromising organizations. It's becoming easier. People are making so many mistakes in their applications, their systems, their networks, and the likes. And people are taking advantage of that to be able to actually, what's the word? To compromise them. So data is at stake, systems are at stake, money is at stake, reputation is at stake right now, all
Yeah.
because of what you're seeing in the cybersecurity space. And it's not just Kenya. There's a whole lot of other the entire Africa is facing it. Actually, beyond. I'm sorry. Let me get a charger. Beyond
Okay.
Africa, same thing. If you go to the United States, you're looking at the kind of things that are happening there. It's crazy. Cyber criminals are taking over hospitals and the likes. It's not funny at all, but well, we need
Mm.
to address it. That's why we need a lot more people in the cybersecurity space, job wise. Yeah.
Do you feel as though we are lacking cybersecurity experts, or is it the specific, like people don't necessarily know how to go about the space?
We're not lacking cybersecurity experts. We are basically not following the right areas to get the right people. I
Yeah.
see so many people who are good at what they do, but I think they're not being guided well as to where they're supposed to go. So that's where there's a bit of a gap, and I think that's something we need to discuss today. Where do
Mm.
you have to be able to fit in an organization when it comes to cybersecurity as an expert?
Yeah, yeah. So it's just guidance that's lacking. So even in terms of the people who would like to get into the space, they're not sure how to go about it. The companies who are looking to hire, they are also not sure where to get these people. So let's start
No.
with the people side, the people who are looking for the cybersecurity job. So where do they start? Do they have to have a cybersecurity certificate? Is there such a thing? Or do they just need some informal training and they're good to go?
It depends. So remember, there are so many organizations that we are looking at here. Just a second. It's something I'm
Yeah.
looking for. Uh, Okay, so there are various domains that we have. There are some domains which will need a person who is. Remember, we have different kind of roles when it comes to cybersecurity. There's some
Yeah.
people who actually have been technical writers, and technical writing is what they focus on when it comes to cybersecurity. There are people who actually get to focus on how do you call it, application security. There are people who actually have just cloud systems. So you don't go hire somebody who's a network engineer, a network cybersecurity engineer to focus on a cloud security role. So again, you might be hiring the right person for the wrong role, or somebody being put in the wrong place. So it depends on which area you're hiring for, so that you know exactly where to put that person. And I've gone to some places. I see people who are saying they are junior cybersecurity engineers, not knowing they're way beyond the junior level. There's people who say they're senior cybersecurity engineers, and they're nothing close to that. So we need to be able to make sure we differentiate which area you are and what kind of a security engineers you need for that space. Yeah.
Okay, so now let's get into then the skills and the qualifications. What do you need? Let's start with three levels because there's obviously the beginner level, and then there's the mid-career level, and then there's senior. So what do we need at the beginning level?
So if you're a beginner, now beginner can differ again. So, but generally, you want to be able to begin in cybersecurity. You're looking at some people want to go straight for certifications, which I sometimes say, yes, go for certifications, but go for the right certifications you need. There are way too many free available resources that you can actually use before that going for certifications. Currently, you basically can see for the fact that a junior role you're looking at. So there's a junior role, which is information security analyst. You're looking at somebody who's an information security analyst. You can see a digital forensic examiner. There's some people who are IT auditors. So a lot of roles you find in the big fours and a few organizations have the IT auditor role. For example, the auditor role gives you this experience where you basically learn almost everything about anything, right? So you are the ones who is the one who's collecting information. You're the one trying to run a few tools here and there. You get to learn about operating systems, which you need to know when it comes to fundamentals. You need network basics. You need to learn basic programming. Not we don't have the pro programmer, so we're looking at basic HTML, CSS, PHP, scripting languages like Python or Bash or whatever it is. Some people ignore Linux operating system, but everything is the Linux right now. And also basics about what is involved when it comes to cloud security or cloud systems. So I tell people you need to make sure that you can have those basics. And
Yeah.
junior roles is basically getting to understand how to call it, how to run some of these tools, how to collect the right information, how to understand the way things work. So networking systems, operating system types. How does a server look like? Can you set up a basic server? I remember when I was starting, I was trying to learn cybersecurity, but trying to be a system administrator in an organization. It's an NGO. And I used to fumble so much. Like there's so many things that I just couldn't get right. So I always have to call a guy who can help me. And he used to take like half my salary, which was 15,000 bob. So 15,000
Gosh.
Kenya, I have to pay this guy 6K to help me do the job, but I don't get fired because I was a consultant. So
Yeah.
man, it's it's just crazy that I had to balance all of those. But yeah, you need basics of those kind of things.
Yeah, I think it's so important that you actually share these experiences because not just for people who are looking for jobs in cybersecurity or people who are in the early stage of the career in cybersecurity, but even for companies to know, like, this is basically how it looks like to have a beginner in your company when it comes to cybersecurity. So obviously, gaining the skills is important. You can get a certificate, but the skills are more important, is what I hear when you're beginning.
Yes. So I tell people, like, I have a list of links that I usually give people, but before I give the link to them, I tell them, first of all, go research about what it takes to be a cybersecurity engineer. Then you come back. When you go research, you find out that there are so many, there's a lot, there's a whole wealth of information, and you start narrowing down after you read a few things, and you're like, maybe I don't think I need to go into the coding part of things. Maybe I need to go into auditing. Maybe I need to go into get into things to do with, say, governance, risk, and compliance. Maybe I want to focus on forensics, but not forensic. I know somebody who's a forensics reporter. This guy just reports. He doesn't do the actual forensics. But I don't know if my screen is frozen. Is it frozen?
Yeah,
Can you see me?
it's frozen. Yeah.
Pardon?
Yeah, it's frozen.
Let me. I want to switch networks, so give me a second.
Okay.
We're back?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Ish. It's still.
Where was I?
Hello. Okay, sawa. Good.
All right.
No, you were saying you need to research and basically find out which area in cybersecurity do you want to,
To get into. So after the
Yes.
person's researches and gives me that list, then it's when I then give them a bunch of information, which I said these are the good guides you can go to. It's always good to be able to get a list of what you're trying to do when it comes to cybersecurity, in terms of what to read, all the information. I've read enough of them, so I'm trying to consolidate them for you to be able to know this step by step. Without those, people get lost. People try to do anything and everything, and it becomes quite difficult for them to actually know which area they want to get into when it comes to cybersecurity. So I tell people a lot of research is needed. People tell me what course to do, and I'm like, I can't really tell you at this point. Should I do a CEH? And I'm like, I don't even know what you know. I don't even know if you are very good with how do you call it? I don't know if you're really good with, say, networking is already good with you, or you already know programming. So I need to know what level you are at to be able to know exactly how to drive you to the right direction. So a lot of research is needed, and I think a lot of people make the mistake of they get lazy. They don't get to research before coming, and it becomes quite difficult. For example, when I wanted to get into the blockchain space, Abed, let me tell you, the first 2 or 3 months was tiresome, and it's crazy. Even right now, the new role that I'm playing right now in blockchain intelligence, I'm reading so much about compliance in various countries, various jurisdictions. I'm learning so much about various players. I'm reading past investigations that have been done. I'm reading every little thing about blockchain investigation. I'm trying to follow everybody who's in that space just to make sure I'm not missing out anything. Too many acronyms keep on coming. I'm like, what does this one mean? And I'm making notes. I have a table. So I have a table which always shows me, I show what have I learned today? Have I been able to do it? I get to screen record myself to actually see how I've been able to do it. I present to my wife. I even sometimes tell her, listen, I want to explain to you what has happened. You as a layman, do you understand what I've just said? If you understand, then I can present to somebody else. So in the kind of space that we are in right now, you have to try anything and everything, and you're not gonna get it at the first time. You'll keep on trying and trying, and there'll be so many hurdles to actually jump to be able to understand the technology and details when it comes to cybersecurity in this space. It's a monster. Yeah.
I think that's so interesting, even for companies to note. So do as much research as you can and specialize, right? So find what works for you, find what you're interested in, and then dig from there. Because you are right. I also have a younger brother who's in uni and trying to get into cybersecurity, very interested as well, and doesn't know where to start because it seems like there's so many different things just jumping at him, and he's just wondering, can I just do everything at once? But yeah, definitely picking something and going at it. So let's talk about mid-level and senior level. For companies, what are they looking for, or what would they look for when they're trying to hire somebody who is in the mid-level or senior level? And of course, I know it depends, but just general.
So I was so mid. Let me try to differentiate between the two entities. So they're mid-level, that you find somebody who is now what you call a system penetration tester, or there's network penetration tester, there is applications penetration tester, to see how best some of these systems can be penetrated by an adversary. We have some people who are security systems administrators. These guys forever put in various blockages in systems to be able to make sure nobody can actually go through. Then we have people who actually are security architects. They see the entire architecture of how you're building your systems, how you're building your network, how you're building you're in multiple countries. You're in Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, UK, and they architect the entire regions and say, we will do a VPN from here to here. We'll actually put you on in a particular kind of a network. For you to be able to log in, you need multiple authentication. They basically draw out the entire layout of exactly how you're supposed to be in all of those regions, right? Now, you will find that a lot of people who actually do that are basically, how do I say it? They're really good at so they're really good at those part of things, meaning they cannot be doing the other part of things, which is how do you call it? Which is the offensive part of things. So there's offensive and defensive. You'll find people who are now in, say, how do you call it? In a senior management level. These guys have done majority of the mid-level staff, one or two of them, right? We also have cybersecurity managers in the mid-level. So you can be a manager, but you're in the mid-level part of things. You're managing a team of people. You're managing 2 or 3 other people who are specializing in other areas. You know how to delegate. You know how to be able to actually critique results. You know how to be able to guide somebody else in a junior role exactly what they're supposed to do. Excuse me. In the senior part of things, you're looking at people what we call a chief information security officer, a CISO role. CISO takes all of this information from everybody and try to relay that, also decision making, but also relay that to the senior management. We have senior security architects in some organizations, because that's not something which you necessarily have to be the one typing all every day. We have some people who are senior malware analysts. These guys focus on the reverse engineering of malware all the time. It's a very high-paying job, by the way, really, really high-paying job. Then we have some people who are senior penetration testers, or what we call red teamers. We have senior security operations center, how do you call it, engineers or leads. These people actually see they are the level 3 or level 4 of any kind of security operations center, meaning that when an analyst is investigating various kind of entities or things that are happening, they're able to see exactly how that how do you call it, how that is working. They're trying to see exactly how it's been really from junior level to them to be able to escalate, to investigate. They also know how to be able to do what's the word, investigations much better, or even to talk to a particular customer that you're working with in case you're doing a managed service. So there are all of those levels as a senior level part of things. So senior level mostly don't do technical work every day. They're mostly communicating. So again, some companies hire the wrong person for the wrong role. You hire a technical person who is really hands-on and knows exactly how to do the technical hacking every day, who wants to do that every day. That's what they want to focus on. And you go hire them as a CISO, you will fail. Or you have a company that needs people who are hands-on right now. You know people who you want people who actually who you need somebody who can do for your company. For example, I'll give a typical example. There's a company we're trying to hire for. They don't need a CISO. They don't need it right now. At the
How do
moment,
you,
that's
how can you tell?
because the kind of business they're in, they need a lot more hands-on people. So I'd rather
Yeah.
spend that money hiring 2 juniors or 1 junior and 1 mid-level or 2 mid-levels than a CISO who's not going to come do anything. The CISO will just be and already, by the way, they
Calling the
already have calling shots. They already have risk managers. They have auditors. They have every other department. So a CISO is just going to be coming to put all of those to report, and then you're going to be paying that person almost $7,000-8,000. So again, not every company needs a CISO. Not every company needs too many juniors. Sometimes you need, I'd rather have 2 managers who are mid-level and manage a team to be able to do work in the right way, depending on the number of tasks that you have. So again, right company, the right position is to be given to the right people when it's necessary. Times then later you can start seeing that you need a very senior person because the conversations they're having, even to raise funds or the conversations they're having in the boardrooms, that mid-level guy who does the technical work or manages the team will not be able to communicate. But that does not mean that you stop the person who is mid-level to become senior. I like it when mid-level guys become senior. I've been there. I was a junior security engineer. I never knew what the heck I was doing. My first presentation, I was being thrown in the deep end saying, look, you are there, go get it done. Go make sure that you can present this result. And I'm like, I don't even know how to talk to these people because I see them to be, C-suite. But I learned to climb the ropes. That's something everybody should aspire. I tell techies or tell security engineers, you're not going to be typing commands every day forever. A time will come, you need to explain to a very non-technical person, to a board member who has never seen a green screen in his life, who has never seen, doesn't understand what acronyms you're having, and you have to explain to them. My colleague Fraser, he's on the chat, I can see here. Him and I went to do a presentation to a board. Do you know what he told us? Write everything in full. Don't tell me SQL injection, even though we explain what SQL injection is. They say we don't know what SQL stands for. We said you might need to get a CISO in the near future, and a CISO's job is to do 1, 2, 3, 4. They're like, nope, write it in full. To them, that's how it is. We learned the hard way. We had to go back. We had to go back and redo the entire presentation in complete detail. So those are some of the things that I've been seeing around.
Yeah. So I think there is a need for companies to do an assessment, especially when it comes to their hiring and how they plan to go about hiring. So don't hire the wrong person for the right job, in a sense, right? So try to make sure you're understanding the needs of your company. Do you need a hands-on person? Do you need somebody to just come in and call the shots? Do you need somebody who's in middle management who can handle a little bit of both? So doing a needs assessment is very important. And then also succession planning. So the people you're hiring, are they actually able to climb up the ladder in your company? When you're bringing in this junior person, what is your growth plan for the junior person within the company? Is this somebody that you're going to use on a project by project basis, or is this somebody that you plan on retaining and growing with them in the company? And what does that look like? What does the employee life cycle look like for the position as well? Eliminating jargon is very important. This is for the people who are looking for jobs or the people who are in entry level. Not everybody understands what you're saying or what you're doing. Even during interviews, don't assume that people actually know what you're talking about, because so I have grown to understand cybersecurity, obviously. I have to, but not every single hiring manager or HR will understand the jargon or knows what CISO is or SQL and all those fancy words. So eliminating jargon and making sure that everybody in the room can understand what you're saying. Yeah, so right. Sure. You have a question.
Or rather, comment.
Okay.
Or rather, a comment.
Okay.
Some organizations need to know who is a hiring manager and who is an HR person, right?
Okay. Yes. Yes.
We have seen so many of those cases where the HR person is the one sending out the adverts for a hiring manager, only to say, this is not the kind of person I wanted to hire. So you get to the room, the HR person is doing the first interview, and he or she has wasted everybody's time, her time or his time, and the interviewee's time. So I always say hiring managers have to be the person that they're going to be reported to, or somebody high up, or an external person. I have been a hiring manager for some of the big companies in Kenya, and I had to rule out a lot of CVs because we sieve through CVs and you're like, this person does not fit the profile at all. Or you can even tell the person is lying from just the first few things they've written, right? So hiring managers and HR personnel need to split their roles, especially when creating a job description out there and also when doing the interview. Otherwise, the two clash, where sometimes the HR person will think they are above the hiring manager, and the hiring manager is completely put down. For example, I know it's a time when was hiring for a company. The HR person said, "Oh, but this person does not have 3-4 certifications, and the other one had 5 certifications." And I was like, "But the guy who had the 5 certifications couldn't answer basic questions. Basic, I mean, completely basic. Even questions how do you call it, connected to the role. This person couldn't hire. He has 5 certifications. This one has 2 or 3, but that doesn't determine how they're going to play in this. If you look at that experience, one of them had 12 years, the other one had 10 years. So they're like, oh, we need to go for the guy who with 12 years. I'm like, why? It's a 2-year difference with this person who does not understand. He's not going to help the company. So again, we need to be very cognizant about exactly how that person, the people who are hiring, the roles they play, and how they're setting those kind of detail during the interviews or even before the adverts go out.
Yeah, and of course it is, as you know, the job seeker, is your prerogative to find out the kind of company that you're looking to get into. Do they even have a HR department? Because some companies don't have the luxury of having a HR department. So the HR person is the hiring manager, is the person who's interviewing you, and so on and so forth. There are also other companies that actually employ outside contractors to come and help them do recruitment. So the first interview that you're going to do is not necessarily going to be a technical interview. It's a basic fit interview where they're trying to assess, do you actually meet the basic requirements of this role? There are also other companies, and I tend to see this a lot with corporates, that will have a whole HR department. They have a talent manager, they have a hiring manager, they have the board of interviewers. So just do your research and try to find out. You can do as many informal interviews as possible to try and find out, how does this company actually conduct its interview process, who plays what role, and if you do find yourself dealing with the HR manager, also understand their position, and just make sure that you are handling who you're talking to, how they need to be handled. So if it's the hiring manager, you obviously would expect this person to have a lot of technical knowledge. So this is the person, if at all, to give all the jargon to and etc. How these people align has nothing to do with you. So those are internal company processes. So they basically just need to get their shit together in
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you mentioned something that I do want to comment on when it comes to, the HR insisting on, we need these certifications. This person is better because of these certifications. So which one do you think that companies should value more? Is it basic, like certifications over, and I'll give you a scenario just now, certifications over,
degree?
Not even the degree. There's degree, certification, same thing. I'm putting them on one side, and then there's practical knowledge. So let's say you get this person who has amazing practical knowledge, like they're good at what they do. No, they're mid at what they do, let's say mid-level. And then you get this
Yeah.
other person who has the certifications, they have the brain, they're really, really smart. So you know that they can get things very fast. But when it comes to their practical knowledge, it's not yet there. Who are we picking in that scenario? So remember, the first one is mid, but they don't have the certifications. They just have a lot of hands-on experiences, but akwapo katikati. And then we have the
Yeah.
other person who is basically very smart, but in terms of know-how on the ground, it's not that good.
I'm going to give you various scenarios here.
Okay.
In South Korea, if you have formal education, you're going high. You're going to go to high out. You get paid for your formal education because they believe that their formal education is actually really good. If you
Yes.
go to the United States, some part of the United States in the Silicon Valley, my screen looks like it's frozen again. Today, network is being a problem.
Yeah.
Can you hear me though?
Yes, I can hear you, but I cannot see you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. Today's problems with my computer.
Oh, pole sana.
I don't think I want to whatever my machine again.
Yeah.
This is frustrating. Okay, here we are. I think we're good now. Anyway, let's just get on with it.
Yeah. It'll catch up.
No?
It'll catch up. Not yet.
This is annoying. I
Okay,
feel like switching computers. Okay, now it's completely off, right? No,
yeah.
I'm back.
Back on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is this. If you go to South Korea, you'll find out that people who actually get degrees are able to go up the ranks very fast than people who don't have degrees. If you go to the United States, there are parts of the United States where, as a technical person, if you find a way to be able to prove yourself that you're really, really good, you can get hired by most companies without a degree. When you come to the African continent, you might be able to actually get into some companies with just a skill set, but again, it might limit you. So I always tell people, if you have the chance to do any kind of diploma or certificate or a degree, please do it. If you can just have that base, you don't need a master's or PhD or anything and everything. But if you have that base, it takes you higher. It takes you out there faster. Some of the things that I know as a PhD holder, it's not the same as something that somebody knows who are my juniors, quote unquote, because they are more skillful than me. They can do some of the security assessments much, much better than me. I'm not at that level. Everybody knows something. But depending on where you are, it will favor you or not favor you. Now, let me tell you, people hire according to age. They hire according to certificate papers that you have. It's a fact. Most organizations.
Wait, you see age?
Yes, it's a thing. When I was 28, I finishing my PhD at 28 was a problem. I could not get jobs because I was overqualified on paper, underexperienced on documents, right?
Yeah.
Even though I have done so many projects for Ushahidi, I have done almost, I don't know how many projects for Ushahidi, lots of them. But my research, excuse me, one of the jobs I was going to get for $17,000 in Abu Dhabi at the time, as a single man, Abu Dhabi, $17,000 a month, no tax. It's a lot of money. The guy wanted to hire me because of the research that I did. This was a technical research of the papers that I wrote, of the publications that I did, of the people who have referenced me in the papers. So you see, that was going in my favor. That wasn't because I was technically good at what I was doing. I was not the best. There were people who were way better than me. And he picked all of that out in a 37 minutes conversation. I'll never forget that. It was 37 minutes of a phone call. So there are many things that could go wrong. Now, if you come to Kenya, the Kenyan space, you'll find some people who are technically good. I was discussing this with one of the guys. I don't know if he's here. He says, I don't need a degree. I'm really good at what I do. Can you just test me? I don't want to do a CV. And I said, I cannot trust your word. You don't do a CV, a simple CV. He doesn't want to. Then he's telling me how he's made 300K from some jobs. But you see, I don't know who you are. You don't even have a picture, a LinkedIn profile. You don't have a CV, and you want me to take you seriously. I told him he's wasting my time. I don't care how much money he's making out there. You see, there, if he was to come interview for a job, he will not get anywhere. So it has to be, you have to know also which industry you're going into. In the companies where is not, they don't have too much money, they don't have a lot of processes, they don't have too many how do you call it,
it's not too many bureaucracy.
Processes of onboarding. They'll hire you and they'll pay you the 30,000 Kenyan shillings, 40 or 50,000 Kenyan shillings, say become a security engineer, and you will keep on getting that amount of money for the next 3 years. You go to jump to another company.
Because I know companies are here like listening, like, oh, okay, so we can, as if you don't have a certificate, we can pay you 50. No, that's not.
Yeah, I know. So I hope they don't do that, because sometimes some of them are technically good. They're solving the problem. They're finding vulnerabilities in the systems. They've been able to break your entire application and reveal for you the ways that you can get compromised in the next few days, and your business would have shut down if you don't fix these bugs. That is there. But you see, others don't pay you well because you don't understand how to even negotiate, because you've never worked in teams. You don't know how to work in projects. You don't know how to work with other people. You don't know how to write a report. I know so many technically sound people who have never done a report. So their reports are horrible. There's a guy called Eric. Eric is one of my team members, and he's working somewhere else right now, but he also worked with me. Eric, I picked up Eric's conversation. I've been talking to him since 2019, and I never knew this guy was becoming better at what he does. Do you know what made me to pick him? His report. He said he shared with me a report for a company, and he's like, can you help me get to these people, because they don't seem to be listening to me. They wanted to pay him 25, is it 25 or 30,000 kind of shillings before the tax, yeah? And he's so good, he was going to solve all their problems, a betting company. So I said, listen, I think you need to do better. In less than 5 months of working with Eric, there was a job role in at the UN in Mali. Do you know he didn't have to interview? Because I put in word for him and I said, this is a guy you need. They automatically picked him. He did not have to do any kind of interview. They look at the work he's done. They look at the kind of things he's done with me. And his portfolio just grew so fast in 5 months of the work we did together, because his profile just became something else. Now, that wouldn't have been possible if it was somebody who, and he did, by the way, at that time, he didn't have any formal degree, but he's a technically sound. And the UN picked him up. They didn't have those many bureaucracies of that. So again, it depends on where you are going to actually apply for the job. There's some jobs, there's some places like PwC, or let's say Safaricom. You can't get into Safaricom if you don't have a degree. You need to have that degree to be able to actually get through the door. So you need to make sure you have your degree, if you can, your diploma, if you can, and if possible that you can have the certificates add on to it. I don't have many certificates. I barely have, I think I have like 2 of them or 3, 2. But just because I have been able to apply my technical skills and show it out there that, hey, I'm technically good at what I do, it was able to actually supplement my PhD. My PhD was a lot of research, technical research, which thank God I went to a very good school that gave me that platform, but it's not everywhere you're going to get that. So people need to research which company you're applying to, because recently I was trying to do a hiring for a company we had about 60 to 70 applications. I go to the CV, I do Control F, I search keywords, I don't see them, I put them on the side. Side because of the keywords that I was searching. Things like, and they know exactly what they're applying for. And people, someone even did a ChatGPT. Like you can see all the brackets and everything. Can you imagine? This one they put ChatGPT.
Just from ChatGPT. Oh wow.
Copy, and he forgot to remove some of them. I mean, that's the least you could have done. So again, which area you're going to, which company type you're going to, don't go to PwC, Deloitte, and the likes without a degree and hoping that you go to get it.
And just crossing your fingers that people will trust you. Yeah.
Exactly. There are startups that are out there. You could present to them what you have found, that you just finished school, or you have a degree, and they'll take you in. And they can see the technical aspect of things as well. So if you have projects you've done labs, you've done technical labs like Hack the Box, Try Hack Me, ValonHub, all of those kind of labs, it might help you to be able to prove to people, if you have a good hiring manager who understands cybersecurity, then you'll be able to actually get some of those roles.
Lovely. I think you've spoken about something to do with culture without, like, I don't know if you meant to, but you mentioned about people not necessarily having good soft skills, because presentation is a soft skill, learning how to do reports, that's a soft skill. So how do companies balance? Where does culture fit come in when it comes to assessing employees? This is now strictly for companies. When it comes to assessing employees in cybersecurity, where is the balance? Where does culture fit come in?
There's a bit that I was watching and I said, I resonate with this video so much because these are the key principles that I get to watch when hiring somebody for a cybersecurity role. Has this person have a winner mindset? Like a winner mindset that's saying, you have failed so many times, but you've won a few things here and there. Like you've basically shown and proven to me that you've solved problems before. You've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 issues, and you've been able to actually win. Yeah, you don't want people who, and the video was even talking about the fact that people fumble through things, and then all of a sudden they show up and they're like, oh, hire me, but I've never done anything successful. I've never found a bug in the system. I've never been able to try out anything. You don't need to be a pro, you don't need to have the certifications, but you've tried out something to be able to make sure you're good. The second thing is somebody who is obsessed with what they do. When was the last, and again, from the video, just saying, when was the last time you actually were so obsessed about solving a particular problem, you stayed up all night or all day trying to get a solution to that problem? It sets you apart. By the way, in an interview, when hiring or when somebody's hiring, you need to actually find out what has this person done so that you can actually, and they can explain. Also, the way they explain, you can tell if they're lying or not. By the way, it's very obvious. You can tell how they solved the problem, how did they tackle that particular problem, and what was the outcome. How did it change the company, or how did it change the client they're trying to work for? Because some people actually do a lot of consultancy before they actually look for a job. I've seen that happen. I know a guy who was a CEO of a company. I just did a referral for him yesterday. He got a job today. And that's because I have seen his obsession when we're building a product. As a product manager, he's just obsessed with getting results and managing teams and be able to bring things up. And that's how he was. The other part of things, somebody who is a good person, just being a good person can be demonstrated as to exactly how you relate with people, how you talk to people, how you talk to people in the past, how you helped other people solve problems. It goes a very long way. And it doesn't have to be that you're in a past company. So most of the people who are here, maybe they've never had a job before in the cybersecurity space. It doesn't mean you've helped somebody in a company before. Maybe you found, I'll give a typical example of myself. When I was in South Korea, I found a bug in LittleCab, and LittleCab at the time was under Safaricom. I wrote to them. I wrote to the CISO at Safaricom and I said, hey, I found this bug in your system. I was able to compromise the system. Here are the results of what I found. Please help to close that as soon as possible. He gave me a certificate when I came back to Kenya saying, thank you very much for that bug you fixed. Called me to his office. We had a long chat with other people and I showed a few things that I know. And I'm like, yeah, he did not give me a job, but he gave me a certificate. And that certificate that I got from Safaricom when I was applying to do a training in Rwanda for the central bank, that was a differentiating factor. That paper, even though I got a new phone as well at the time, it went really far. And and it's just all about how I was able to help him or as a company in a very small way without necessarily having the money mindset. The last part of the things is proactivity, which that video again talked about. I'll share that video here. I'll share it somehow on my WhatsApp story or Instagram, anything. Having being able to be proactive in solving problems. So you've been given a scenario where you're supposed to think on your feet. How would you be able to go about it? And the scenario does not have to be a technical scenario, which is a mistake people make. The scenario could be your colleague could not come to work, they're stuck because of a family emergency. You are the only person who can actually do that. You can also, how would you be able to help that particular person? And it's a die-hard situation for the company, so your proactivity and how you be able to get some of the things done, it matters a lot. So yeah, those soft skills are some of the things you look for in those interview processes and how they present themselves. Look, if you don't know how to present, you don't know how to talk, you're scared, try this with your friends. I am so sure everybody has you have your sisters, you have your family. Stand in front of them, let them ask you questions. I was doing an interview for some guy some time back for a role in my previous life. And when I'm talking to him, he kept on doing this, kept on looking aside. His friend was Googling everything for him. So he Googles and he shows him. Yeah. So later, the worst part is this guy did not know there was a mirror behind him. So I could see the guy clearly just Googling everything for him. It was horrible. It was just so horrible. I'm like, yeah, I can see your friend showing you the other screen, and you're really struggling to read out the answer. Even though on paper you are the best candidate, but here's the case: you can't answer simple questions. It's because the person does not have confidence. Mere simple confidence is what he did not have. So it's good to just have a little confidence to show exactly what you know. Be able to try to explain to people exactly what you do, what you know. And it's very easy to explain to your friend. Like I told you, for me to be able to confidently present to my colleagues about a new concept or what I'm learning, I present to my wife first or my friends. This is how I'm trying to do. Do you understand? If you don't understand as a layman, then my technical friends will not even understand, right? So it's really important for us to be able to actually get that kind of a balance. So the soft skills, you don't have to know it by heart. Everybody learns. I used to be once upon a time a timid person. I couldn't stand in front of people. I used to stammer.
Really?
I know.
Doesn't connect at all.
Stammer a lot. So when I tell you now, I've done 325 presentations, 26 presentations. Even I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I really do need to know though, because I was recently consulting for a company that needed to have their hiring planned out. Meaning they're just I wouldn't say it's a fairly young company. It's 5 years young, but they are not so quick to bring permanent employees on board. And we were just trying to map out what it would look like for them to bring permanent employees on board. And one thing that we realized is that some hires are personality hires. That doesn't mean that they're devoid of skill, but some hires are personality hires and some are skill hires. So when it comes to cybersecurity, do you think that people should focus on skill hires or personality hires, or find a good middle ground? What do you think about that?
You need to find a middle ground. There has to be a middle ground because.
So you don't think you can find skills?
My philosophy is my philosophy is higher character, train skills. Skills can just be trained. But also there's always some level of skills you can train. You don't have to be really good at what you do, but your character matters a lot because look, you can build a company for 5 years and lose everything in one day because of an employee you hired who does not have the right character to be able to actually represent you out there. People think just because I am a cybersecurity engineer in the background, I'm always going to be in the background. No, one thing you might do one day might embarrass the entire company because of a simple mistake that you have made. One thing you can do is how you've gone to talk about your company out there, or how you behave out there. You are drunk and all over the place and being drunk and disorderly. You're representing the company. So everybody has a representation of the company out there. So character goes a very long way. And that's how you get to know if you're going to retain the person. Skills, people can always learn. If you're really good, and if you're a good manager, you can always train the team on certain kind of skills that you'll be able to get. So hire character, train skill.
Perfect.
And and I can see one of my colleagues here, Agbenya Adote from Ghana, is saying ethical matters true. Integrity is to keep. So we'll first have to look at the character of the person, how they conduct themselves out there, even how they conduct themselves table. I used to hire people by the first meeting I have with you when I have lunch. How you be able to actually behave around the table can go a very long way. How you talk about certain things, how you communicate can tell me, okay, no, this one is not going to stay for long. This will stay for a few days, or a few months. And, that's it. So even internships, it doesn't matter if you're doing an internship kind of a thing. There's some key elements you have to look at. Again, those things that I talked about, having a winner mindset, being able to have somebody who's obsessed with things they do, people who are generally being a good person, and also being proactive. There are some places you see people who are not proactive enough in terms of being curious. I want to know what you're doing. Can I find out the next thing you're doing? Can I join in? Can I help? You don't have those kind of mindsets, you don't stay for long.
It's very, very
You don't get
true.
to, yep.
Very, very true. Like I had an intern who was so curious, she actually inspired me. It was so nice that she kept on asking, even without me prompting, and she would volunteer to
Yeah,
help me with things that I actually am currently considering her for a full-time position.
that'd be
Whereas you
great.
can have someone on board that is not really interested. Yes, they do the job, but it's basically the bare minimum. So, just to put it in context and just to summarize a little bit, we are saying don't hire the wrong person for the right job. So find out, like map out who exactly do you need for your company, make sure that you're getting the right people, and also check on the personality, check on the soft skills, check on the candidate that you're bringing into the company. Will they actually add value to you? Try to get to know them as much as possible before you bring them on board as well. And when it comes to skills, we've already discussed what to check for every level, for mid-level, for senior, for early career. We've already discussed that, so you know what to check on. And we're
Yeah.
running short on time, so let me just ask one question, one very important one on the red flags. I know we've tackled them, lying, of course, but let's get a little bit into it. So, what are the red flags when you're interviewing somebody in cybersecurity as a company or you're a hiring manager? What are some things that you see that make you go, yeah?
Yeah, I see a lot of CVs which have flashy technology, flashy terms, flashy
Yeah.
everything, too many flashy things, and I'm just there like, hey, this one, okay. And
Yeah.
I look at the number of years they've taken to learn all of those tools, and I'm like, okay, how did you learn every single thing in such a very short time? It doesn't make sense. There's a guy it's a lady actually. This lady says she had, I don't know how many certifications. Yet I'm not considering the age. I'm talking about the fact that the certifications and the courses and the skill set, actual application of those skill sets in the various jobs she said she was, it just wasn't make sense. 1 year, you've gone to 2 companies, you've learned almost every technology you can think about somehow. And I'm just there like, how did you learn all of those in less than 6 months, or 6 to 8 months? Um, I mean, it's possible. Some people can get to do it. I no doubt.
Maybe
There's some
she's a
people who are
genius.
yeah, they're geniuses who can do that. Who actually, when I used to get Dimension Data, part of some of the interns who come, your job is to do certifications for the first 6 months. You just do certifications, but the practicality of those has to be there as well. And the reason is for those because when you apply for bids and you have more certifications, you will bid. That's how it used to work. So we thought, I was just there like, I don't get it. How are you doing? How did you do all of those? Excuse me. And I literally Googled some questions around those topics, and I knew the answer would be some way. This person couldn't answer any of those. So flashy words, flashy key things in a document, in a CV or resume, automatically gets to raise a red flag for me. Secondly,
Yeah.
is about being able to actually show some representation. Um, you want to be no matter what level you want to hire for, during an interview, you want to be able to actually find out if that person has actually ever done anything in that space. There's some
Yeah.
people who have never done cybersecurity, and it's okay. But if they show you the curiosity, you can pick that out. If they're also lying about the curiosity, you can pick that out. I know a guy some time back I was hiring, and he's like, I used to play hack the box. I used to try hack me. I used to try to do ABCD. I used to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and on this
Yeah.
platform, this platform. So I said, "What is your ranking on hack the box?" She's like, "Oh, I need to go check." I said, "Okay, share your
Wow.
screen,
Yeah.
log into your hack the box," only to realize that he doesn't even have an account. Yet on paper, he says he's done hack the box and everything. So even he doesn't even have an account. How do you even get to actually fit that out? Then I see something which my colleague has put there, which is putting them in a small lab or a test environment. That goes a long way. One guy came to a company when I was at Cellulant, and he said he had OSCP, Offensive Security Certified Professional. It's a very difficult exam. I bet it's a 48-hour exam, 24
48.
hours. Yeah, 24-hour hacking, 24 hours reporting, which is quite intense. So I said, okay, you have a certification. This is great. You're the right candidate. You're the guy we need. Here is a lab. Can you try to you load the virtual machine on your computer and find a way to be able to actually compromise the system? He took 3 hours, even with internet, and he could not load a virtual machine. So to the point, I'm like, did I give the guy the wrong virtual machine? I mean, I don't understand. He just couldn't do the bare minimum. He can't even scan a network. And those are basic things you learn when you start the OSCP course. So you can find those kind of a thing, and finding out from the kind of certifications they've done, you ask questions around that. If you do know those questions, you can pick out those kind of things very easily. When I do hiring or try to filter, apart from CVs, I do a phone call. The first 10, 5 phone calls that I make will tell me if this person is the right candidate or not. And
Exactly.
it's happened enough times. Yeah.
Because I feel like for every position you need somebody who speaks well, who's able to articulate themselves, and who's able to explain process as well. There's no need for being, just having the technical knowledge without any soft skills to back it up. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's very true.
Yeah.
When it comes to companies and bringing cybersecurity experts, and I promise this is the last question,
Yeah.
on board, is there like certain processes that would make them more efficient? Is there anything that we need to know in terms of, best practice for bringing these people on board as companies looking to hire, of course?
So the companies who are looking to hire, as we said at the beginning, make sure that you're hiring you've defined the right role for the person to come in. Otherwise, if you put a role which does not fit the profile of the person you're hiring, and you hire the wrong person, that person will not thrive. The person will be bored. The person will leave after a few days, and you've wasted time. You've wasted time going through CVs. You've wasted interview time. You've wasted onboarding time. Onboarding can be very tedious.
Yes.
For those companies that have proper onboarding processes, not everyone has it. So you've wasted everybody time. Now you have to go back and look into the market again, trying to find the right person. So put together the right role, the right onboarding part of things as well for the right person. So when they come on board, they know exactly what they're doing. Otherwise, you're going to have just somebody who looks like they fit the role, and they'll come and they'll get tired in the first day or two. So it's really important for you to be able to make sure you have the right person for the right role, and also the right onboarding process. Again, what do you need for that particular moment in time? If you don't need a CISO, don't go hire a CISO. If you have enough engineers, somebody to be able to manage everything and communicate to the board, fine. There's some companies you have a CIO who's trying to hire cybersecurity managers or cybersecurity engineers, and he has absolutely no idea what cybersecurity engineers are going to do. So an engineer can bring him a report or a vulnerability or something like that, and he can't even communicate that to the board or senior management and say, as a CIO of the company, these are the things that we have found. These are the things that, how do you call it? That we want to be able to bring on board. These are the things that we want to actually communicate for the future of the company. You never get it. So right processes, right details of what the person is coming to do. And Adote is giving me more points here, the right framework of the organization. So what kind of practice? But sometimes, at times, you might not need that framework. You just need somebody to come make sure you fix all the bugs that you keep on getting every single now and then. Then later you can have a proper way of saying, we want to get ISO 27001, or we want to get COPIT 5, or we want to get NIST framework being implemented in the organization. Companies that don't have processes of being able to actually know what the future of the organization looks like, you have somebody who are just coming to do what they think they know, right? Somebody who's not curious as well. I'll give a typical example. Somebody who is a security, I saw someone like Jarvis asking, this means a CTF player, Capture the Flag Challenge player, is way better than a person having many certifications. That's not true. You can be a Capture the Flag Challenge player, come into the organization, and you don't know how to write a report. You just know how to capture flags in labs. You don't know how to be able to analyze a system. You don't know how to communicate with people. You don't know how to systematically follow a particular kind of a framework. And you don't know how to be able to make sure that whatever you're testing has a particular end goal. That end goal, I'm talking about the fact that there's a destination for that thing you're testing. It's not just testing an application or finding bugs in the system. There's a complete destination. If they're about to roll out a loan app, for example, and you are a person who just plays Capture the Flag or CTFs challenges, and all the things you'll be doing is finding minute flags, and you say, oh, I won. I was able to win a challenge, or you've gone to USIU and Daystar or whatever, JQuat or KU, whatever challenges, and you won. In a real life scenario, yes, you might be able to find a key or anything, but if you can't tell somebody how to be able to solve that problem or write the right report, then you're the wrong man for the job, right? Yeah. So you need to understand a lot of things, and some certifications actually guide you through that entire process. It's not just a certification. And again, what certifications are we looking at are looking like? So it has to be the right kind of status where the company is, the right place where they want to get to, so that they can know how to get the right person they're hiring for all the way to the end. Yeah.
Okay, so great. Thank you so much for your knowledge, Bright. I think this has been a very, very insightful session, both on the company side and on the candidate side. I want us to talk a bit about an event that is coming up soon, which we're partnering in. I don't know whether your screen is frozen. Okay. Yeah, called Recruitment Circle. Yeah.
Can you share it, that we can share it? Also, as we get maybe 1 or 2 questions.
So we'll take questions just after this. So we want to share a little bit about that event that we're partnering. It's called Recruitment Circles. So I created Recruitment Circles because I wanted to shorten the recruitment cycles, because normally you'll find either you get your HR in-house to do your recruitment for you, or you get a company to do your recruitment for you. And that takes quite a bit of time, as well as effort and expense. So we wanted to make sure that we are shortening that cycle by putting you in the same room with candidates that we have already vetted and we've pre-qualified. Of course, we have experts in the room who will help with that, Bright, and other experts as well. So we have tailored this event specifically for companies who are looking to hire in the cybersecurity space. I just want to copy and paste the link to that event here in case any of you is interested. I also wanted to share my screen and share the event poster, but I think that's fine. Do you think I'll be able to, right?
You can.
So I've just posted the link to the event on the chat. So if you are a company, there is a gateway fee to enter, but if you are a candidate who is looking for a job. It's completely free of charge. So I will be sending the information to any candidates who are interested. Just indicate on the chat in case you're interested in attending this event. So let me see if I can share
I
screen.
think you sent it to private, so I'm trying to paste that. What is the connection problem? Oh, there we go. Oh, Shara has shared.
Oh, she's shared. Oh, good,
Yes.
good.
It's on the screen as well. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, so basically this is the event. So have a look at it if you're a company. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me as well. Am I able to type into the chat my email or my contacts?
Yeah, in the chat, you just have to select all. Or you can just put it in the private and I'll paste it up here.
Okay, sawa. So my email is pasted there, as well as my social media handles. Yeah, so if you're interested in attending this event, then it would be really, really great to see you all there. I still haven't figured out how to share this screen. Let me see. No, I've managed. I have managed. I feel like every time we have these events, my age shows. Every time. I give up.
There we go.
Yeah, it's fine. But maybe, Bright, you can share a little bit about this event, why you're excited for it as well, what you're looking forward to.
I'm looking forward to actually the pre-screening part of things to see what kind of CVs are we going to get, how we're going to scale down from the number of people who want to apply for the jobs, and also to give guidance to the organizations that are going to hire for the cybersecurity roles so that they can get the right person in the room for the right, how do you call it, to get the right person for the right candidate for the right organization. Because I know sometimes they will say, look, we are a small startup and we want to be able to scale up. We can only afford ABCD, but we want somebody who's able to help us, right? We want to be able to connect the right people and also guide them on the growth path, that you don't hire somebody and pay them 50,000 Kenya shillings for 3 years, but they can actually grow as well. So looking forward to that. Yeah.
So true. Yeah, so I think we can take questions. But thank you so much for your knowledge. Thank you so much for your time, Bright. This has been great. And I also hope that our audience has been able to benefit from our musings today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we can take 1 or 2 questions, and then we can close it up there. I believe it has been recorded. I think so. Shara will let us know. If it's recorded, let me just share with you Africa Hack on YouTube. We actually post most of the links there. There is let me just share that link. If you Google Africa Hack on 254, you'll find all these videos and the interviews that we've done, even the past one that I did with Abed. You'll find it there. Today, is there something wrong with the internet? Oh, okay. It's a little bit. Please subscribe. We are looking to be able to actually do a lot more, how do you call it, sessions in the future, more information, so that we can get to educate. So please subscribe to the Africa Hack on 254. We'll get towards the videos. Even the masterclass that happened before, all these videos are there for you to be able to make use of. So a lot more is coming. My connection has refused. I don't know what's up with my connection today. But just Google Africa Hack on 254. There's a question on the screen. Hi, Naima. If somebody has already corresponded to the email you sent to one's personal email earlier before today's session, do I have to purchase a ticket?
What does that mean? If somebody has already corresponded to the email? As long as you're a company, I'm not sure if I understand the question, but I will try to answer it in the best way I possibly can. If you're a company and you want to attend the event, yes, you do need to purchase the ticket. However, if you're not a company, if you're just basically a candidate who is looking to get a job or who's looking to benefit from this event, then all you need to do is indicate on the chat. I think we can have data from the chat to see the people who are actually interested, or you can send me an email, preferably email.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for the session. Is it
How
possible to
how many people will you get though, Abed? You know, there's a lot of people might show up. Will you be able to feed everyone?
No, that's why I'm saying you need to send me an email, because so the event is actually by invite only. We do screen. So if you're able to get through our screening process, then we'll select you to be part of the event. Best of luck, to be honest.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, I think this question is for me. Is it possible to reach out to you on a professional level for more insights on how to progress in cybersecurity from mid-level to senior level? Yeah, sure. I'm the easiest person. You can Twitter is easier for me. LinkedIn, I take forever to reply. So get in touch with me on Twitter. Follow me on DM, and I'll be able to share the details. I mean, we can actually talk there. So yeah, I find it very. I can help where I can, but come with the right questions ready so that we don't have to go for a lot of back and forth. So yeah, this is the YouTube channel, Africa Hackon 254. We will be able to actually upload the videos there later. Okay, it's been great. I can go for my dinner, late dinner, very wrong timing, but
Same here. Same here. So
I think every time we come, I'll keep on having a new Ziwa bottle. So this
this
yellow.
is a new one.
Yeah, from
It's
Ziwa.
cute, and it has nothing to do with me being a certain size.
No comments there. All right.
So,
All right.
cheers, yeah?
Take care. Sure.
Okay.